And most people are not from that. Not from that. They're comfortable. They're comfortable.
Fucking take your goddamn hands off me, motherfucker. Touch me again.
Don't touch
me again.
Don't touch her, motherfucker.
I'm
popping him in the motherfucker
name. Touch me again. I'll fuck you up, motherfucker. I'll grab you. What you do?
You don't hear anything.
Grab her ass, motherfucker.
You understand me, boy? Maria, rip your head. Fuck with me, boy.
You get that sorry piece of shit out of here.
Let's go, fucker.
Hey, Michael, stop.
I don't understand that. Here's a man that don't even like his own fucking people and running for governor. For what? He has 1 year to do if he even wins. He can't do shit. He wouldn't be able to get nothing done. So why is he running? Democrats control everything. He couldn't get nothing done.
Tell me where he lied. He ain't lie. The man asks a very good question. Larry Elder will not be able to do much of anything. This is a Democrat, corrupt Democrat-run area. They will shut him down. They will shut him down. So the question has to be, as the man said, why is he running? Why is he running? And you also have to acknowledge that this means that essentially his entire campaign is a lie. Larry Elder's entire campaign is a lie. All those things about we got to change this and we're going to do this and the homeless this and that and we're going to do this and the mass that. It's lies. He will not be able to do much of anything and he'll be out in a year. So what is the purpose of him running? And again, this means that his campaign is fictitious. The man is a fraud. Pretending to run against a corrupt governor. And there's some deeper points that the media is not talking about that we're going to talk about here. As usual, the conversation gets distorted and distracted about things that, in my view, are not that important. I think this is one of those situations where it's a teaching lesson. This is something that it's very, very important that you learn from. Don't get distracted by what right-wing media and left-wing media is talking about, whether it's corporate or independent. Don't miss some critical details that you can learn from the situation about the Democratic Party and politicians. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get deep into this, unlike you're going to hear anywhere else, because everyone else is playing this tribal game. We don't play that here. This is a nonpartisan channel. If you're sick and tired of all these left-wing channels and right-wing channels that just pander to the ideology of their audience, reporting on some things, not reporting on other things, whether it's corporate media doing that, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, or it's independent, the Young Turks, David Pakman, Crowder, Shapiro. If you're sick and tired of that and you want somebody to tell you what it is, straight up, then this is a channel for you. Subscribe, click on that like button. And the reason to do so is what I'm doing is not profitable. This is not the way you make money. This is not the way you can be successful on YouTube. The way to make money is propaganda. You feed into the ideology of your audience. So pandering to liberals would make me more successful. Pandering to conservatives would make me more successful. That, I think, would be the most successful. Because I can play the token role of a brown-skinned guy that's conservative. So clearly, conservatives aren't racist. Like, I can play that game. But because I choose to keep it real and consistently so, I don't occasionally go the other way. That is always going to keep my channel small and hurt my channel, which makes me very dependent on you guys. So make sure you like the video, share the video, comment on the video, even if you're just saying hi, because this kind of content is extremely reliant on the audience. I'm not here for views, not here for fame, not here to make money. I'm here to inform and educate. So let's start doing that. So this is a situation where, in my view, it's potential racist versus racist. Why do I say that? Larry Elder is the guy who talks about reparations, and he says the real reparations is the reparations to the slave owners. Slave owners need to be compensated for their slaves. Now, I understand this is a more hypothetical type conversation that he's having, but you got to understand the context. Larry Elder, in my view, is a representation of capitalism run wild. Everyone talks about socialism. No one really talks about capitalism. And the problem that leads to is that no pure system is good. Pure socialism is a problem and toxic. Pure capitalism is a problem and toxic. We don't want to be living in a world where all that matters is profit. Right? We don't care how many people are dying. All that matters is the bottom line. We don't want to live in that world. That's a savage, inhumane world, a pure capitalist world. We don't want to live in a pure socialist world either. Everybody's making the same salary. The government owns everything. We don't want to live in that world. Pure socialism, that's where you ended up in communism, right? We don't want to live in that world. What we want to live in is a world where you're in the sweet spot between socialism and capitalism. But the problem is when you're in a country that only fearmongers about one side, which is the evil socialism, that means you're going to continue to adjust yourself towards more and more capitalism, right? If you only have fear on one side and you're trying to find a sweet spot, you're going to keep edging more. Like, oh, any hint of socialist anything, you'll be like, oh my goodness. And you're going to lean more into capitalism. And also, when things go more capitalistic, you're not going to be afraid and react and resist. So people, certain elites, will be able to edge us deeper and deeper into capitalism because no one's really fearful, right? And it's across the board. Even people on the left, there's a lot of people on the left who they don't really worry so much about capitalism, right? You want to talk, people talk about the radicals and more extreme left who are more socialist leaning, but that's not a majority of people that are on the left, right? I think majority of the people who are more left leaning, who are, concerned about things like social justice and whatever, I think many of them are also concerned about socialism. And they don't see the dangers necessarily of capitalism. Larry Elder, to me, is a representation of that. He is focused on what makes him the most money. In my view, he's playing a token role. I'm a guy with brown skin, and I'm going to say the stuff that other people can't say because they'll be branded as racist. But I'm going to say, you can't call me racist. How can I be racist? I'm a black man. Right? You can play that game, right? And I can say stuff that other people want to say, but they're afraid of the stigma or whatever. And those people will support me. I can get money, donations, support, and growth and notoriety. I can stand out. That's a key principle in business, is to stand out. You want to get attention? I can get attention as the brown-skinned man saying these crazy things that you're not supposed to say. That's going to get news articles written about me. For example, I can say crazy things like, maybe we should think about giving the slave owners money. I may not believe it, right? I don't have to believe it, but I'll say it because it profits me. It benefits me at the expense of the community. I don't care about the community. I don't care about other people. I care about me and my wealth. That's the capitalist way. It's all about self, right? So even though I say racist versus racist, I don't know that Larry Elder is necessarily racist. I just know that he plays the part on TV, right? And I believe that's for capitalistic reasons. Now, this lady, same kind of thing. I believe in thinking about, fact-based rather than emotion-based. So although someone with my complexion, I may not be as dark as Larry Elder, but I'm of the complexion and of the history that, my feelings would lead me towards this racist woman with a gorilla mask thrown at this guy. But I don't know necessarily that this woman is racist. I'm 50-50 on it. She could be racist. She might not be racist. And I know there's some people that the emotions will cloud the judgment, and hearing me say what I just said will be like, oh my goodness, what are you saying? Clearly, she's wearing a gorilla mask. What are you talking about? Why else would she do that? What she's doing definitely has racist undertones. It's inappropriate. I mean, protest, whatever, but the whole mask thing, racially insensitive at least, right? But it doesn't tell me necessarily that this woman is racist. Now, the idea, assuming that the gorilla mask is supposed to indicate Larry Elder, so like if she's trying to send a message that he's a gorilla, looking at somebody as a gorilla is not a necessarily a racist thing, because when people think about gorilla, they think about idiot, stupid, whatever. Now, I understand that does have a racial history, but just because it has a racial history, that doesn't mean that the person who's using it is sort of coming at it from that angle. Because I could look at anybody as a gorilla, right? I could look at these security guards as gorillas. If I want to look down on them and think about, these guys, they pea brains, they're not very smart, just a big brutes. Hey, don't throw the egg. I could do that, right? I could look at anybody stupid, brute, right? Brute, all muscle, no brain. I could call anybody with any complexion a gorilla. Now, again, she could be an actual racist. That could be where she's coming from. But unless I talk to her and hear her say it and get that, factually, I can't say whether she is or she isn't. But I can definitely say that regardless of whether she's racist or not, the thing that she's doing has a racial undertone. You got to think about the context of what you're doing. Like let's say I'm her and I'm not racist at all and I choose to do this. I would actually not. Let me put it to you this way. If I'm a person who's not racist, who likes to call people apes, that's just my thing. When I see people acting stupid, I call them apes. If I'm so-called a white person, whatever that means, and this is my vernacular, that's how I talk, I would not refer to a brown-skinned person as an ape. Again, as a person who is not racist, who uses that term just to signify someone who is dumb, I would reserve that term for people with my own skin color. Because even though me calling a brown-skinned person an ape would not be racist, it would appear to be racist. And the person I'm insulting may take it as racist. And the essence of communication is for you to convey a feeling, an emotion, a thought. If my words would potentially convey a message that is opposite to what I want it to, then I would want to use different words. I'm not going to call a brown-skinned person an ape, even though I don't mean it in a racial context, because of the very fact that the person probably will take it that way. And that's the whole point of communication. The whole reason that I'm saying anything that I say to anyone is because I want to communicate ideas. And if the idea is not going to match, or rather the idea received is not going to match the intended idea, then I need to find another way to communicate. So wearing a gorilla mask to critique this guy, even if you are coming from a non-racial standpoint, that he's a gorilla because he's stupid or whatever, it's inappropriate. But again, I can't know why she chose to wear that mask, whether it's racist or not. It certainly looks racist. And what is absolutely sure is the fact that left-wing media is not jumping all over this story. That is absolutely a demonstration of their hypocrisy. Because we know they will make things racist that is not racist, right? If a pink-skinned police officer shoots a brown-skinned person with no evidence whatsoever of anything racist related, we know people like MSNBC, the Young Turks, they'll jump all over it and say this racist white cop. Again, with no information indicating that this person is racist, just the fact that this of the skin colors and the fact that one killed the other. The guy could be married to a brown-skinned woman, could be a volunteer at a local whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Preacher at a so-called black church, right? wouldn't matter. They would ignore all of that. They wouldn't report on it, and they would just say, racism needs to stop in this country, blah, blah, blah. They would imply that it's racist. They would call it racist. They would dance around race. So for those same people that would do something as ridiculous as that, to ignore a woman with pink skin, wearing a gorilla mask, throwing an egg at a brown-skinned man running for governor, a fraud, a liar, a buffoon, but still, he is a brown-skinned man, and a pink-skinned lady wearing a gorilla mask threw an egg at him. This would be golden for people like the Young Turks and MSNBC. So the fact that they're not all over the story tells you what they're all about. Final point. Governor Newsom is corrupt. I want you to pay attention to everybody who has been supporting him. And remember this in the future. You are seeing the curtain pulled back. AOC has been supporting Governor Newsom. Kamala Harris has been supporting Governor Newsom. Brian Tyler Cohen has been supporting Governor Newsom. None of these people are idiots. Ask yourself why they're trying to support a corrupt governor. And it gets deeper. There is a man who is running as a Democrat who is one of the leading candidates. Meet Kevin. There is a Democrat who is running and is leading. He's being suppressed and ignored by the left-wing media. The same way Bernie was suppressed and others. These are the people who want to supposedly get some radical candidate in power to fight for them, supposedly. That's what they claim, right? Yet they would support the suppression of a Democrat candidate in a Democratic election. The exact same thing that would be potentially done against a potential radical candidate that they would want to get elected. Think about that. These are people who were like Bernie supporters, and they saw how Bernie was railroaded. They would support the railroading of a Democratic candidate. Pretend he doesn't exist. Let's just vote no on the recall. So we can keep a corrupt politician in power, which is the very thing that is hurting the Democratic Party. Here's an opportunity for you to get a swamp creature out. But rather than support getting him out and telling people, like, hey, listen, people say that we're whatever, but we're actually the good guys. We don't support swamp. Gary Newsom is wrong. The people have spoken. He should be removed. That's the thing to do with integrity. So everybody who's supporting Gavin Newsom, they have no integrity. You should not listen to anything they have to say in the future, whether in the media, whether they are politicians. Do not trust, do not listen to anyone who is supporting Governor Newsom. He is corrupt. He needs to be removed. He represents everything that's wrong with the Democratic Party. And then those who are seeking to support him are the ones, what side they're on. They're on the side of the establishment. They're on the side of the swamp. So let's get Gavin Newsom out, and everybody who supports him, let's make sure they get removed as well. Never forget. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.